Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, we're on episode 7 of the Fleece and Harmony podcast. And we'd like to welcome everybody that's joining us this time. If you're new, I'm Kim.
And I'm Jennifer.
And we're the owners of the Fleece and Harmony Woolen Mill in Belfast, Prince Edward Island. If you're coming back to see us and you've been here before, welcome back. We're so happy that you joined us. We've still been having great time looking at all the comments and answering the comments. We want to say to all the people in Oklahoma. in Ohio. And
Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin. So we think that it must be cold in Wisconsin too, because we're getting lots of comments about woolies in Wisconsin. Yeah. So Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and everybody in Canada, around the world.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome back. So I'll just run through what we're going to say. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you that it is actually no Fleece and Harmony podcast would be complete without a weather report. Today it's a beautiful sunny winter day. However, the wind is 80 kilometers an hour and blowing like crazy, and it blew off the corner of our vinyl sign that we have outside. So if you hear a rumbling sound or a banging sound, it's the sign. That is secured by 3 corners, but is blowing and it's too windy to get up and have somebody fix it. So it's really not safe. So you might hear a little bit of noise in the background. That's what it is.
Yeah, up on an extension ladder and 80 kilometer an hour winds is not something we do.
Not good. And unfortunately, we're on our 3rd phone that we record the podcast on. So now we're back to the original phone with the spot, but we've hidden the spot there on the lamb's nose.
This lamb actually has a pink nose.
Yeah. So,
but now it's black.
Yeah, so hopefully it doesn't end up on the end of my nose.
Yes,
exactly. So we'll try to keep back. We're going to try to be. We usually pride ourselves on the spontaneity of our podcast and everything. So this is actually take 3. This is take 3. So if it's a little less spontaneous,
I'm sure it's only getting better. Yeah, I'm actually feeling a little delirious at this point.
Yeah,
so that
could
go either
but
way.
The show must go on.
Yeah. And what we were telling you all last time is that it's so cold today, the sheep actually are staying inside.
Yeah.
They're actually choosing to stay in the barn.
Yeah, it rarely happens.
Yeah. They were like, no. And then we couldn't find our barn cat.
Right.
We thought she must have wandered off yesterday, which would be a very bad day to wander off because it's minus 30 with the wind chill. And we were looking everywhere, and as it turns out, she was buried underneath the straw bale.
She didn't even come out for breakfast.
Was like, nah, I don't want a cat today.
Yeah.
Not doing it. Yeah, so we had to dig. Oh my gosh, she's alive.
We found her, We didn't leave the barn until we made sure that she was okay, safe. We checked all the outbuildings, and then actually Stephen went back into the barn.
Yeah, she was just still in bed.
Can't
say I blame
her. Rolled the covers over her head and just stayed there.
Because usually she's very big on morning snuggles, and you can't get away from her, but she couldn't even be bothered to get up this morning.
Yeah.
So it's not just us.
The ewes were all looking out their barn at us while we put the food out for them, and they actually didn't come out until breakfast was served. So that's it. So
everybody's in the same boat.
Yeah, and everybody's talking about how long the winter is, but it's not really that long because we're still in February. It's not the chronological time of the winter. It's more that it started in late October, when normally here locally the weather is still quite good all the way into December, but the winter really started early, so everybody's pretty fed up. But
anyway,
it's
getting hard.
It's getting hard.
Yeah, hopefully it eases up a little bit soon.
Yeah. So the reoccurring theme of this episode, you'll notice, will be it's all about keeping cheerful and happy projects, and there'll be a few things. So we're going to cover our works in progress, like we usually do. There's some works that have come out of the project bags and are being reworked on. There's updates on other works in project that are still not finished, but because they don't exist
are no
anymore.
longer with us.
Are no longer with us, so we'll explain about that. We are going to launch a kit for a project, and we'll have an episode of Welcome to Our World, which is now we're traveling into my section of the mill where the spinning starts to sort of happen. So I will be going to do that. And I'll be doing the voiceover. I'm not really very excited about that. I have a terrible voice for that, I think.
Yeah,
I
it'll
might
be
get
fine.
you to do it.
No, I'm not doing it.
Oh,
I haven't done a great job with them either. We'll get it.
Well,
We'll get it sorted out. Mine was
okay.
really buzzy. I'm always too close to the microphone. I need some training on voice training.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get that done.
Yes.
So, and we're going to talk about planning your summer vacation because
Yes.
we actually have a couple of great things to talk about that happened on Prince Edward Island during the summer, and now's the time to start planning.
Now's a great time to start dreaming and scheming.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, we'll go to the works in progress. I'll go first. I'll talk about the Trondheim mittens first because they're not here. I was working diligently on the Trondheim mittens for the Smitten with Mittens
Mitten along.
and loving all of the things that are happening on the thread on Ravelry. People are sharing their projects. I was making good progress on mine. And if you've been with us before, you might recall that last episode, I was wondering if they were too tight, and we decided that they weren't. They were perfect. They fit well. They were a little bit snug, but it was a perfect fit for me because I don't like loose mittens anyway. But as I was finishing, I was almost through. I had 10 rows left to do of the decreases on the top, and we'll show a picture of the mitten. So they're a triangle shape, a traditional Nordic shape mitten, and they were going to be way too short. So I could have easily fixed that just by extending the pattern. But I really took a hard look at them, and as I mentioned in the last episode, you know that I had a little bit of problem getting the tension right on my Latvian braid. So there's 2 Latvian braids on the Trondheim mittens, and the first Latvian braid, even though I did take it out a couple times, still I wasn't 100% happy with it. The second one was much better, and I could see as well my color work as I was working up the palm and the back of the mitten was improving quite a lot by the time I was getting to the end of the mitten. So I decided to frog the mitten and rip it all out because I'll do it with I'll go back to the original pattern needle size that I had gone down a size because my tension was too loose. But when I actually knit the mitten, now it's a little bit too tight. I think that will fix everything. Plus, I knew if I continued to knit that the second mitten was really going to be noticeably better than the first mitten. So it's just better just to rip it out. So
cool.
that's what I did. Yeah. But people are already finishing their mittens. We've got quite a few.
They look wonderful.
Quite a few roses of red pictures on the thread on Ravelry. So if you're continuing to do mittens, then keep posting your pictures, and I'm loving the comments. Just so everybody knows, Jennifer answers all the comments on YouTube, and I answer all the comments on Ravelry. So when we're speaking, we both read all of them, but we've divided the workload of answering.
Because we were answering things twice, and then nobody was answering things, and it's quite a lot of organization to get that all sorted out.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. So no Trondheim mittens, but I am excited to get back to them, and we got a set of the Chiagu minis as well, so I'll be doing them on the minis. I was using the bamboo ones, but I think that I'll do a little bit of magic loop for the first part, so I'll use the longer cord on the minis. You're using the minis too, right?
I was, yeah.
You like them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, so then I'm left with one work in progress, and that's my water shawl by Sylvia McFadden, and I'm knitting that in the ELDON lace in November Sky. So this project, I was happy to dig it out of my project bag again because it's a really nice project, I have to say. The knitting is nice. We've talked about it already, so I won't go into too much detail, but the garter stitch and the lace, it's just a nice knit. The one thing about it was that as it was getting bigger, I had to back out my knitting a couple times because I got on the wrong row. I was doing it while I was watching TV sometimes, and I was getting on the wrong row. So I finally got smart. Took a little bit of time, and I decided to the way that I was keeping track of where I was, because I kept forgetting to punch the row counter or forgetting, I also am keeping a track on the pattern itself. So I decided to mark off 100 stitches in the middle of the pattern. Because you're increasing on this side on every row, so you're doing 2 yarn overs here to increase by 2, and then you're doing a knit 2 together on the other side, 2 out of 3 rows. I decided, well, I'll just block off 100 stitches in the middle, and then I only need to keep track of the ones that I'm doing on the edge before the stitch marker, because it's very easy to count 2 stitches as 1 row done, and that's what I've been doing. And I can't believe what a difference it's made. I haven't had to back out anything since I started that, and I was even able to bring the shawl to knit night last night and be able to chat with everybody and keep track of my knit.
That's good. Having the right knit night project's a bit of a challenge.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I certainly couldn't work on my Ramea sweater.
Right.
Yeah.
So you tried to work on it.
I did 1 row, and then so this is just not a good idea. And there was cranberry loaf.
Yes.
So I was much more interested in that.
It is almost impossible to eat cranberry loaf
and knit.
Yeah. So we're really lucky because we have such great people in our knitting night that come to knit night. But there's the one girl that comes, Rachel, who's actually a really, really nice baker. So every week I have I don't have time to bake cookies for knit night, so I bring my store-bought cookies, and we always have tea and coffee and that thing. But Rachel has started to come, and she brings home the
good stuff.
Really good stuff. She brought chocolate chip cookies the first week, and they were really, really good.
Yeah.
I think she said lots of brown butter was the secret.
Very
and
good.
She brought cranberry loaf last night. So Rachel, what you don't know, here's the rest of the story, is that when you left some of the cranberry, the loaf that was left over on the table, and the minute you left the door, Jennifer ate another piece of cranberry loaf.
I love my sister.
That was her 4th piece.
That's fine. It's appreciated.
It's a really compliment.
It is a compliment.
To Rachel.
It was delicious.
Yeah, it was
all
delicious.
of it.
Yeah.
I ate a fair amount.
Yeah.
Well, I was knitting, so what else did I have to do?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was really good. So thank you, Rachel. If you think that maybe people don't appreciate it,
we definitely appreciate it. Oh my gosh, yeah. Baking is always appreciated.
Yeah. So the water shawl is actually progressing. Now I have 2 sections left, and I was able to do a full section with the garter stitch and the lace in 2 nights. So it's going to go pretty quick now that I'm not counting every single
I can see how that would be faster.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So really happy with that. And my knitting of this shawl has inspired Janet, who is the lady that does our sock knitting for the mill, and she's actually coming into the mill a couple days a week to learn about how the wool is really made and the yarn is really made. So she's actually doing one as well, which maybe we'll show you when she's done.
When she's done, we can bring it out.
Yeah, she's doing it in autumn birch colorway in the Eldon lace.
Show it in a different color.
Yeah. So that's
your whip.
That's my whip. So my whip and my unwhipped.
Yes. The ripped whip.
Yeah. So now it's your turn.
Your whip and your rip.
Yeah. My whip and my rip.
That's actually what our whip section should be called. Whip and rip.
Yeah. That's right up our alley.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I just added a little more light to the situation because now that we've been out here 3 hours trying to record this, it was a beautiful sunny day. Now it's not.
Right.
That's maritime weather for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So my whip is the Ramea, which I don't think anyone's surprised I didn't actually finish it this week. And
you made really good progress.
I did make really good progress. And I kind of thought, well, I have one sleeve and the back to do, but actually the sleeve is sort of also part of what would normally be considered the yoke, and a sleeve is in this project is no small thing, and I did actually have to rip it out twice.
Yeah.
So I've now knit it nearly whip and rip. So perfect.
Yeah.
So perfect for us. And we never hesitate to rip if we feel like a whip needs a ripping.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. So I was knitting along, and I was like, oh, I love this, so nice. Hole right here, no idea. It was like a yarn over kind of thing. It wasn't dropped, but it was literally like right at the peak of my collarbone, and I thought, that's definitely going to be noticeable. Yeah. So I ripped it right back to the provisional cast on and started over. Not sure why. Oh, because I also was missing a stitch somehow. So I was like, okay, let's try this again. So Take two. Went right back to nothing. And then the second time I was up to just about starting the color work, and I thought, let me just count and make sure I have all my stitches. And I counted, and I was missing one. And I thought, where'd that little guy go? Not good. And as I looked a little closer, I saw a little hole forming where I had dropped one.
Oh.
Yeah, right down here.
Right.
Sort of similar.
Ladder down?
It was starting to.
Okay.
No, I couldn't ladder down to fix it.
No. I mean, the stitch was.
Yeah, it was on the roll. Yeah,
okay.
It was on the
Great.
move. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I ripped it out again. Not to the provisional cast on, but part of the way.
Yeah.
And I had a really big learning this on several things I learned doing this. When I ripped it back, I can't remember if it was the first or the second time because I can't remember exactly what stage I was at when I ripped it back. But I was like, oh, I'll just take it all the way back. I guess it was the first time. And then not thinking I had undone a bunch of German short row double stitches. So they were all undoubled.
Fun.
Yeah, and so I was starting to join on, and it looked like a run in your pantyhose.
Pantyhose.
Which is one leg of a pantyhose.
Okay.
And that was
is that a maritime thing?
No, it's a Jennifer thing.
All right.
It's a pantyhose if you're just talking about one leg.
Okay.
Pantyhose is plural.
Wow.
Okay. Whatever. Anyway, that's what it looked like. So then I realized, oh dear Lord, those were double stitches. Oh my gosh. So Jennifer, the designer, had sent me a link to how to fix them in a written format through Ravelry. God bless her. But I was really in a panic, so I went to Stacey Perry's video library instead. And of course, Stacey had a video. And it was really funny because in the intro to the video, she said, it's kind of like weird how these things come in waves. But she said, I've gotten so many panicked emails about fixing a double stitch lately. I really felt like actual pressure to get this video out. Like it was very urgent. People were really panicked. Well, I could see why. Because when you've accidentally ripped through 14 of them, you really
are panicked.
Yeah, are panicked, thinking you're going to have to go way back to before you formed the double stitches. But Stacey got me all sorted out, and I think my join looks fine. Yeah, gosh, thank goodness for people who put up all this lovely free content. Honestly, it helped me so much. I think I would have actually had to go back through. I mean, I had no idea, and she really talks you through everything really well. So I got back on track. Knit the sleeve for the third time. And when I mentioned it last episode, I said, I think the left sleeve's knit as an orphan. Not even close. I couldn't have been more wrong. Jennifer Beale's probably sitting at home going, what a twit. She even read this pattern? Anyway, no, obviously not.
Not ahead.
So what you do is you actually do a provisional cast on. You knit like a little armpit tab. Then you join that. And then you start working the stockinette section. Then you join it in the round when you get to the color work. Then you knit in the round for a little bit.
Is that the way it looks? Like that? Like where you're holding it?
In the
more
round.
Or less?
Like that. Yeah. And then I was using, of course, the Chiagu short needles to do this, which made it so fun and easy and fast. And then you cut the steep, and then your sleeve's flat again, and then you continue around. And then when you've got it all knitted, you graft it together. The other thing I learned, and I'm not sure why this happened, unless it was through my recasting on or whatever, I went back and tried to make sure that all my stitches were mounted correctly before I did my Kitchener stitch. And Jennifer does tell you do that in the pattern. Your stitches might be half twisted, so make sure you go. But I have a couple twisted ones in the middle here, but not anywhere else. But it's right under my arm here. And if you're examining my knitting that closely, then we can't be friends. Yeah. So that's fine. I'm obviously just going to go with it. But I'm not knitting it for a fourth time.
Even when you block it, probably won't disappear completely.
Yeah,
but it'll be even less.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. So then I finished the sleeve, and then I attached it to this, and then this color work band again. You join in the round, knit the color work with your Chiagu short needles, hopefully, if you have them. And then I cut the steek, and now I'm just going to be cruising across the back. And I really, really, really hope to have this finished by next recording. Yeah. Yeah, and I can taste it now. Like, I'm really excited.
She wears it around a little bit.
Yeah, I love trying it on with the sleeve. And
it looks like it's going to fit perfectly.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. Yeah. Never really know until blocking, but yeah. So I'm really happy with how that's coming along.
And Jennifer's on Fruity Knitting.
Yes, Jennifer's on Fruity Knitting for the second time with a new pattern release called Joe Bat's Arm.
Wow, and it looks amazing.
It's a spectacular pattern as well. So if you haven't watched Fruity Knitting yet, check it out. And Jennifer Beale, the designer of Ramea, is on there with yet another pattern. One which I actually don't think I'm going to be able to squeeze in.
And Andrew on Fruity Knitting actually says it's a real brain teaser. For
Well, it's out of the box.
So,
yeah, no,
so,
her patterns are really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yet you don't have trouble following the pattern. So even though it's really like amazing, her technique of putting it together, the patterns are very well written.
Yeah.
So.
No, she hasn't made any mistakes.
No.
I've made plenty.
But she's also able to express.
Yeah, like to explain. Yeah. I mean, I did it and I still can barely explain what I did. But somehow on the paper it makes sense.
Jennifer came over to my place and showed me the tab, the underarm tab, and I was like, well, how did you do it? And what happens next? And she says, I don't know.
I don't know what I did.
But
everything seems to have changed direction somehow. We're not sure. It doesn't matter.
But you followed the pattern.
It worked out. Yeah, so great. Yeah, it's really fun.
That's what makes it so interesting. I think.
Definitely never dull. So then my other whip is my both sides now and then socks.
That you just finished today.
I just finished them this morning. So the way this pattern works, I'm hiding the side of the design on purpose. So the way this pattern works is Kate designed it that you knit it stockinette in the round, of course, so that you're all knitting, but it's actually meant to be worn with the reverse stockinette showing. So once you're done knitting it, you turn it right side out, which would be sort of inside out.
Right.
And I love the little heel pattern, which I showed.
An interesting heel.
Yeah, I showed it up close last episode. Right. So I thought everything was great. I finished it. Turn it inside out, row of garter right in the middle of my ribbing. Why? How even? I must have been knitting in my sleep. I don't know how I did it. And there's another little bit right here.
Your knitting nook at 4:30 in the morning.
I know. You know what? I'm not sure that's working for me.
No.
I think maybe I should knit during daylight hours only. That's what I'm thinking now. I have the glasses. I have the high power light bulbs. I don't know what else I need.
Yeah.
But again, I just don't stop and look at my knitting enough. You need to stop and look at your knitting. Anyway, so...
Because you were thinking about getting back to your sweater.
I don't know what I was thinking. Probably not much.
Yeah.
If that was... if that's what was going on. Anyway, I'm actually going to take it out and redo it.
Because you really needed those socks.
I do really need the socks. My other ones, let's not even talk about it. I've worn them so much. They actually have a hole in them now.
Oh, no.
So I really need new wool socks. So I'll just have to rip it back to here. It's not the end of the world. Like, I can still keep the cuff as perfect.
And you're enjoying knitting them. Like,
yes.
As far as
there's not, no. I don't know. I don't know. And these are a lovely sunflower knit sock blockers that we carry. I should mention as well. Anyway, I'm going to rip this back and do it properly because I can't live with that.
Yeah.
No, but it is cute, and I did want to show just because I finished it. And now we have more sock news. Yeah. So this is the lead-in.
So we should say that there's lots of yarn in this game to finish this, right?
So I finished the one, and I was really impressed with how much of my ball was left. Yeah. So if anybody's curious as to whether our sock yarn will knit a complete pair of socks, it absolutely will, with plenty left over. It doesn't even look like I touched it. And Kate herself said she was going to do a pair of fingerless gloves after she finished the original sample for this pattern. So.
And for me, I like higher socks, so that's really good news for if you're like me and you like them a little bit higher. Yeah, I like them not quite knee socks, but almost knee socks. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, so that's really always reassuring to know when you're the person making the yarn.
Yeah.
So as part of a little pick-me-up, because it was very gloomy yesterday, I decided to throw some of our sock yarn in the dye vat and create something fun for you guys.
What? New colors?
No. Yes. So I just thought it would be nice to have...
Just a second. So when you said the last new colors, 3 episodes ago you said these were the last new colors.
Yeah.
I rolled my eyes. Last time you said...
Nobody believes me.
Yeah. Okay. So just as long as we have that understanding that there's always going to be new colors.
Yeah, because it's fun.
Yeah. That's right.
So anyway, there's only actually one new color, but I did 2 things. So the first one is I took all the colors of our bright sock yarn collection and put them in a speckle yarn, which is really a splash because I don't do speckle. You can't speckle when you only have 8 different powders.
Right.
So mine all have to be blended because they're organic acid dye. And acid just refers to the pH that it strikes at, by the way. When you hear acid dye, people are like, acid. It means that pH of the water is acid as opposed to alkaline.
Yeah.
So I always find that's helpful to explain to people because acid sounds really bad. Well, you're just adding vinegar to the water.
Yeah.
So it is an acid pH, but it's not acid.
You're using your bare hands to put.
Yes, of
Yes.
course. I have my hands in it all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I created Ferris wheel, which of course the name sticks with the old home week theme. It coordinates with all of these. The only one I'm missing is the purple because I can't reach it, but I thought it would be really fun to be able to mix these together, even if you wanted to do, because this is basically a fingering weight, so if you wanted to do a sweater and mix some speckles and bright solids as a cheer you up project for the spring coming, hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Then there's this one, so I did that, and it's got all the brights in it, and yeah, so that's Ferris wheel. So I'll put this on for sale.
That's a really good, I find that that's a really good technique, because if you have all colors that you know are going to coordinate with the speckled yarn or splashed yarn or whatever, it's a really good strategy. We do the same thing with the Baby Boo collection, which has 5 colors, solid colors, and then Cupcake, which is a variegated color that uses all of the colors of the solid. So lots of people have knit really cute baby things with trim with the variegated, or they've knit it in the variegated and use one of the solids as the trim, and it makes it really you don't have to worry that it's going to match.
Yeah, it matches perfectly. Yeah, so
really
nice.
Good.
So that's that one, and then I'm just going to hold on to these 3 because they go with the next one, which is called Seaglass. And this is a color I created for the Point Prim Lighthouse last summer, because I always do a few little exclusive colors for them in the summertime, and then it's something different for people to go visit there, so it'll be something that we don't have on the shelf. So I just thought I would apply that colorway onto our sock yarn because it goes really well with these. I'm actually really, really fond of this combo.
Yeah,
I kind of want to make something with that.
Yes.
I don't know what yet, but if you have any suggestions, let me know. So I think this is really cool. So we'll also have Seaglass, and we have lots available, so you should be able to pick some up if you want to try it.
And this is just on our regular sock base, so we can make it.
We can make we can make quite a bit of it.
Right now, it's something for fun, but if people like it, then
we might keep it.
Yeah,
not sure. No, we don't want to commit. But
yeah,
for now it's available, so grab some if you want some cheerful. And lots of people already have some of these colors that they purchased over the last few weeks since we launched it, and you might want to add that to your collection for something a little bit different.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Yeah, cool. So
Good
I did
job
that.
on the new colors, Jen.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It was a gift.
That's good. And you
was
were
a
very
completely
cheerful
selfless act.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It was.
I did a lot of color yesterday.
Yeah.
A lot of different fun ones.
Yeah. So that's always a good day.
Yeah.
That's right.
Cool. Take it to the dye vat, as I say.
Drown those troubles in the dye vat.
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. Okay. All right.
It's getting desperate up here.
Yeah. So now we have the launch of a kit.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm wearing a shawl that was designed by Cheryl Wartman of Caw Creations, and it's called the Beach Day Shawl. And I think I'm going to just take it off. And we love this project.
Yes.
And for a lot of reasons, and we're going to show you why.
It's a genuine pick-me-up.
Yes, it is. And Jennifer posted a picture on her on the Instagram post. Oh, I can't get this on the Instagram feed of this, because you had the pictures taken in the middle of summer last year or the year before.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
In a beautiful field of, is it mustard?
Mustard seed, I think. It's
Yeah,
a yellow.
it's yellow.
I always want to call it canola, but it's not canola. But it looks like canola.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yellow. And it's Jennifer was looking
I was
at
just
that
staring
picture.
at it longingly. Even though I'll tell you, I was actually, my ankles were getting eaten alive by mosquitoes because it was actually early evening.
You can't tell. You look very, very serene and beautiful.
Oh my god! And I was sweating too, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I'd love to be back there. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, right. So the project is really interesting. We had a collection of colors that we called Lot 57. And if you've been following along with us, then you know that when Prince Edward Island was settled, that it was divided up into lots. Instead of, like, I guess it would be like different sections of the island. We're divided up into lots. And we're located in Lot 57. So we did a group of colors. Night Without Stars, which is the navy. There's Linden Blossom, which is the green. The blue is Take the Ferry. The yellow is Beach Day. And that's it. So so that's the Lot 57 collection of colors. And Cheryl actually took all of those colors and wanted to combine them in a single project. So not only do you get the pops of the color, but she also did a different pattern for each of the sections. So the Linden Blossom is actually done in a pattern, and she called it Miram grass. So it's the stitch, it's to represent the dune grass that's on the dunes of Prince Edward Island. Then she did, in the Take the Ferry, she did a wave pattern.
That's the clouds.
Oh, sorry, clouds. And she did I'm calling it wave because it's the similar pattern to the stitch pattern, the lace pattern that's in the water shawl, actually. So I'm a little bit familiar with this. Then Beach Day, she did that. It's called Rays. And in the original writing of the pattern, she did the I can't remember how
it's horizontal. Just a horizontal garter. Like a little pearl
insert
line.
Yeah. So I just changed that up a little bit and did them diagonally. But that's another great thing about this project is you have a lot of flexibility to change it if you want. So we'll explain a little bit more about that. And then Cheryl adapted Feather and Fan to make the waves pattern out of A Night Without Stars. So what we absolutely loved about this project when she finished it and showed it to us was that you do Night Without Stars as a border and you work that like intarsia. So if you've never done intarsia before, she explains how to do it properly. So how do you join the yarns together? And so if you've never done intarsia before, you get lots of practice with that in an easy way. You learn the different stitches. If you haven't done lace before, the lace is quite simple but looks beautiful. So you have an introduction into lace stitching. And then this section with the little bits of garter or pearl stitches, you can adapt in any way you want. Jennifer knit this. The one in the picture is a lot bigger than the one I knit for myself. So I'm not sure if you used a bigger needle size or if you just knit it bigger.
I think I did 2 sections of this in the middle, or
yeah, you doubled the section.
Yeah.
So there's lots of flexibility to do it. I wanted something a little bit smaller, so I did it like this. And then there was another adaptation of the pattern into a scarf called the Beach Day Scarf, which was not in color panels, but all the different designs in one solid color, which is also on our website, which has been fantastic. We've seen lots of projects with that. It's been fantastic.
And that's already there as a kit with the yarn and the pattern too.
Yeah. So we're going to do a kit with the colors that you need to do this. That'll be on our website by the time this airs, so you'll be able to take a look at it. It's all there. A great project to do if you want to expand your stitching.
It's like a stitch sampler almost.
Like a stitch sampler and technique sampler. And if you're a really experienced knitter and you don't need to do a sampler, it's just a nice, cheerful, relaxing knit that's not boring because you're changing it up as you go along.
Yeah.
And it's just
very cozy.
A cozy and cheerful project. So that was really.
And our Aran yarn is so easy to work with. So when I did mine, I actually accidentally made this a little bit too wide, and I ended up cutting it through these garter rows, and then took out a huge chunk, like about this big. It was literally really down to my ankles. I don't know what happened. Once again, I didn't check it halfway through. Gosh, I don't know. I haven't improved much. Anyways, I cut it, and then I Kitchener stitched it back together. I took out like this much, slammed it together, and now it's perfect.
And she came back with it and said, "Look at my," and you literally can't tell.
No, definitely can't tell.
Out inches of knitting.
Yeah. Even though there's like the border and everything, I don't know how I pulled it off.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah. But it looks great.
Yeah, it does look great. So this is just a fun project, different colors, different stitches to learn, or to expand your repertoire if you want, or just to relax and have a nice project.
And it's always nice to be thinking about the beach.
Yeah, and it's very cozy. I'm going to leave it right here.
Yeah, actually it's chilly in here today.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, so now we're going to go to our next segment of Welcome to Our World, where we're doing the draw frame with Kim.
Right.
And the draw frame is probably not something you've ever heard of.
No.
But it is a really, really important component in the spinning process. And so we'll head over into the mill for a few minutes.
We'll talk a little bit about how you can, what it does, but also you have a lot of ways to correct roving and things like that at the draw frame that makes a nicer yarn. So we'll talk about that. So we'll see you back
in a few minutes.
Bye. Here we are at the draw frame. So what I'm doing here with this machine is I'm starting the drafting process, which will help even further organize the fibers. So as you recall from the other stations that we've been, it was all about cleaning the fiber, and then when Jen was showing you about the carding, it was starting to organize the fiber so they're more or less parallel to each other and creating these rovings. So now the draw frame continues that same process, and we'll show you a little bit closer here. We're combining two streams of roving that came from the carder to get consistency in the yarn that we're going to have, because there's always little bits of difference in the fibers, the amount of fibers that goes into each feed that Jennifer showed you last time. So we're combining two, and it's all about getting more consistency and more organized fiber stream. So this machine, I'll turn it on in a second when I'll stop talking. This fiber stream goes through these set of rollers and comes to a drum that has pins on it that cards it even finer than what the carding machine does. And then when it comes out, you have a stream that goes directly behind the spinner, which we'll show you next time. And this is when we're right at the final set process before the spinning starts. Okay, so we're going to start up the machine. I won't talk because it makes a little bit of noise, and you're going to see how the fiber is traveling out of the cans and into the machine on this end. It's a relatively slow process, and this bar helps to ease the fiber out of the cans, because as it comes to this process, it's getting a little bit more delicate because it's getting thinner and thinner. Okay, so in a second I'll turn on the machine, but you can see that the fiber stream now is thinner than it was when it went in because it's been stretched. Some of the drafting has already taken, and if I break apart this roving, you can see that there's hardly any disorganization at all in the fiber stream. So it goes into these cans, and then these cans go directly behind the spinner, which you'll see next time. So we'll just start the machine so you can see how it comes out. So we're back.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Draw frame.
Yeah.
Everything you wanted to know about the draw frame. Yeah. So important, but not well known about what it is. So here we go. We're going to talk about the PEI Fibre Trail. We're past the middle of February, so time to start planning your Prince Edward Island vacation if you're coming here. And the PEI Fibre Trail is really a great project that was started by Linda Nobles of the Belfast Mini Mill a number of years ago, like 6 or 7 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably. And so it's a trail of all of the fibery destinations that are on Prince Edward Island, and it's pretty impressive that there's actually, I think last year there was 21 locations.
Yeah, something like that. So there, every year Linda gets us all like herding cats wrangled together to create this brochure, which you'll find in any tourist bureau on Prince Edward Island. But I'm emailing it out with the newsletter this week. And if you haven't signed up for the newsletter yet, you can do so on our website. It's right at the bottom. There's a little subscribe, a white thing where you can type in your email and hit subscribe. And I'll probably send it out for the next few newsletters so that everybody has a chance to get a copy, at least in PDF form. And as you can see, the fiber trail goes from tip to tip. So the most eastern destination is over here, way up west, which is McCausland's Woolen Mill, which is... it's a bit of a hike, but it's really, really worth it because that's a historic woolen mill on the island. I think there were originally 4 woolen mills on the island, and it's the only big commercial size one left. And they make world famous McCausland's wool blankets. Yes. And Janet of Green Gable Alpacas is up that way as well here. So it's worth taking the time to go up into that section. And then you could kind of do a second day here in the middle and then do east on the third day, or you could spread it out however you want.
And we just finished processing a huge batch of yarn for Janet.
Yes, we spin Janet's yarn, and I dye some of it for her too, and it's turning out really nicely for this year. In fact, some of it may not have escaped from knit night. Yes. Some of it didn't make it to the end of knit night last night. I decided, since I didn't have the concentration to knit on Ramea during knit night because I was too busy eating cranberry loaf, I would skein some of Janet's yarn. Not that I got any cranberry loaf on her yarn.
So a few messages to Janet later.
And some people wanted the yarn right before I even got it in the bag. So, and we're right here. So the great news is that you can come do the fiber trail over a number of days, but there are lots of other things to do on Prince Edward Island. It's totally a magical place all summer long. So there's tons of golf, tons of microbreweries, vineyards, world-class restaurants, world-class resorts, and world-class beaches. So we have some of the warmest waters north of South Carolina here on our North Shore. And I think in the east end of the island, they've made claim to the fact that we have at least 50 different beaches.
Yeah,
that
actually, I think
visit.
there's more,
There's
but
more,
some of them are kind of remote and not as accessible. So the 50 are what they advertise, but there's actually even more. I think there's 72.
Yeah, I mean, it's an island. I mean, the amount of beach is infinite. And it's gorgeous. So we know a lot of people in the eastern of Canada and starting to spread out west are beginning to learn about the PEI Fibre Trail, but we know we have a lot of U.S. viewers too, and you may not have heard of it at all. Right. And of course, you can still do all the Anne of Green Gables stuff at the same time too. So it's really, really a worthwhile trip if you're a yarny and if your spouse either eats or drinks or golfs or likes to lay on the beach. There's lots of stuff for children to do. Right. So Cavendish is full of amusement parks and go-kart parks, and you can camp or stay at a 5-star resort. It's whatever. Yeah. We have something for everyone. Yeah. So we hope you'll consider PEI for your summer vacation because we'd love to see you. Yeah.
We have lots of people coming in, and they're checking off each of the destinations on their Fibre Trail Odyssey. And the funniest story was that young couple that came last year, 2 years ago, and they were a young couple, and young compared to us. That's for sure.
That's a lot of people nowadays.
Exactly. It could be more and more. And she was browsing, and she was telling me about all of the destinations that she went, and her partner was sitting down in one of the chairs that we have here, and he wasn't saying a word, and he was just reading, looking at magazines, and very calm. And she shopped, and
she was here for a while.
Here for a while, and was going, to the next stop. And was telling us, and then she wrote us a message in the next day and said that she had all of her yarn purchases laid out on the bed and how happy it made her. And I wrote back and said, well, I'm very happy about that. And I was super impressed about your partner that was there and was just so calm and allowed you to shop. She goes, she said, don't feel too bad for him. She said, last night I had to go to midnight zombie paintball. And so that was the deal. That was the deal. That she could shop at all the yarn shops she wanted, but then she went with him to play paintball something or other. So
gosh, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
that's a big sacrifice.
Fair enough, I guess. Fair enough. What would bother me most is that it was at midnight.
Yes. Yeah. Well, absolutely. If you're gonna get shot with paintballs, don't do it after bedtime.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I love that story. So even if your guy or girl or partner or whatever is not into zombie paintball, there's still lots of other things to do.
There's so much to do here, and it's beautiful. All beautiful agricultural land and golf courses. I mean, I don't know how many golf courses we have. And lots of restaurants. And if you're a fall traveler, there's also the Fall Flavors Festival, which is in September. So if you wanted to combine that with your Fibre Trail trip, then that's really worthwhile because we welcome the top chefs from all across Canada, and they plan really special events that are island themed. And it's a really, really good time too. Yeah, it's really good. So we'll put a link. I think they have a website. Oh yes, they definitely do. Yeah, so I'm sure planning is well underway already for the next one. Yeah.
The one thing about the Fibre Trail, we should say that a lot of these, or some of these locations that are on the Fibre Trail are quite small, like indie studios and things like that. So you need to check the map has the times that they're open.
Everybody's information is complete on there because we do all open. It's kind of like a sliding scale of when people like to open because a lot of them are seasonal. We're actually year round, but we're one of the few that are open year round.
So that's so when you're doing your planning, take note of that.
And we're happy to answer any questions about it. And I know Janet at Green Gable Alpacas is as well. Yeah, we're all kind of very into promoting the trail, and we love to see as many people as possible. Yeah. So don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions or if we can help plan your trip in any way. Yeah, we're more than happy to. Yeah,
that's great.
All right.
So I think that's it for today.
Yeah, take 3 was a good one. Hopefully.
Yeah.
We made it to the end.
It's a lot shorter when there's no finished project too. So
but for sure we'll have some finished stuff for the next one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and hopefully the weather will have improved as well.
Yeah.
And and don't forget to give us our thumbs up and send a comment if you have anything to say.
Yeah, we love it.
We love all the chatting.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really fun.
All right. Have a great 2 weeks, everyone.
Thanks all. Bye.
Bye.